This is a mixing station controlled by a Behringer X-Touch Mini Midi controller. Here's how I've got the buttons configured and laid out. So when I'm on the first button, I control the faders of each of the channels. And when I'm on the second button, I'm controlling the gains. And I've got the layout here so you can see the gains right across here. So channel 3, gain, up, down, whatever. Channel 3 gives me the bus mixes, which is here. So I just have it configured for one monitor mix right now. So button 3, monitor mix. 4 is going to be the FX send. Right now I have it configured just for one, just reverb. So that's my FX send for all the channels. And now if I toggle, I need to go back to the levels here. If I toggle this button over here, it brings me to my second layer, because this is an XR18, so it's got 16 channels plus an aux. So now I'm on the second set of channels, and you can go through all these buttons with the second channel too. And go back and change whatever you want. And then I've also configured this button over here, so I have a mute group, which is my vocals, which is that channel, and then channel on the end, and then these two. Go back here, mute that back, and then over here you're gonna see we got this button configured as a mute for the mains. Also, I configured the monitor send button. If I press and hold, it'll mute the monitor sends. And then same thing for the FX. If I press and hold, it'll mute or unmute depending on what I want. So that's it. This is a pretty simple setup. There's obviously some buttons here I haven't configured. You could do another bus send, you could do another mute group, you could do another FX send, you could do an RCA, whatever you want. And then all of these act as buttons too. So this is just a very simple setup. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. This is my main fader over here. And when I go to my gains, it's still my main fader. When I go to here, it's the main fader for my monitor mix, and when I go to here, it's the main fader for the FX send. So yeah, that's it. So that's my current configuration for the X-Touch Mini. I just wanted to do something as simple as possible, something kind of reminiscent of an analog controller, but add some extra layers of capability. And there's obviously a lot of buttons that I have unconfigured, so this is just a very simple setup. And I think the merit of this is that it can be very simple on the surface, like an analog mixer, but then I can add some deeper layers of control if I want to. So for context, I was going to buy the full X-Touch because I like having a digital mixer, but I want some sort of wired control. I don't mind mixing on a tablet or on my phone, but I feel like I just have to have something that's wired in case anything happens at a show. I don't want to be without a controller for it. So I've been using my laptop and bringing that with me and just not really touching it too much, but just having it there just in case it's like a wired thing. But obviously having some physical buttons and knobs is really nice, like the old, the analog mixers of old. And so I was gonna get an X-Touch, the X-Touch controller or a mixing board, so I'd have a mixing board, physical digital mixer to use with my Behringer 18, but they're fairly expensive, almost as expensive as the mixer is right now, which the price came down on the mixers, which is really cool. But what I realized is that for some of the deeper levels of control, like the EQ and stuff, it's really ideal to have a screen still. So it's still almost not completely standalone. It's standalone for the simpler functions, but for the more in-depth functions, you still kind of want a screen that, and it doesn't come with one built in, so you still kind of want to have your tablet nearby or hooked up to a computer or something. So that kind of defeats the standalone merit of it a little bit in my mind. It's still really cool, and I'd still like to get one at some point. I probably will, but I realized that you could control the mixer and a computer with this MIDI controller, and so I sought to configure it in such a way that I could have the setup I'm already using, which is my mixer, my laptop, and a tablet or something, and then have some physical buttons to control everything and have the screen right there. And so I'm really liking this setup so far. Let me know if you'd like to see how I did that, how I laid it out, how I set it all up, or if you'd like to see a different layout, or if you'd like a link to this layout, I can share it with you. So you can download it onto your computer and not have to do the work, and then you can build from there however you see fit. Yeah, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, the usual. Thanks.